welcome to episode 11. I was contemplating whether to stop season 1 of the podcast at 10, but I was like, nah, let's just keep going, see when the right time is to switch up into season 2. So, we are here, and today's going to be very short, sweet, to the point, within talking about community. So, let's get this thing going. First, something that you're grateful for in this past week. I believe that I am grateful for my husband getting better. Today he is still sick, but when he gets sick, it takes a hit on us a little bit. So I'm really grateful that he was able to get better. It was a little bit of a hectic week, but out of everything, the result, the ending of it is good. It's very fruitful. So I think I'm very grateful for that. And I had a cousin come with me to church. It's been a while, and it was beautiful. I felt like a child again, in that present space. So I'll give you a few moments. Okay, so I came across a verse that fit very perfectly into what we're going to be talking about. The verse is in the beginning, very, very beginning in Genesis. And the verse goes something, the little line that stuck out to me was that God said that man shouldn't be alone. I was like, that's so perfect for today in talking about community. So the reason I thought about community was because I actually got a sense of it yesterday. I was able to go to the park finally because the weather's been super hot in Texas, and it is starting to feel cooler, a lot cooler. Obviously, wearing a sweater, like this sweater. My sister gave it to me. Or she's giving it away. So, anyways, I went to the park with a mom friend of mine here in Houston. And if you know anything about Houston, it is really hard to get place to place when the drives are usually shortest drive, 25 minutes to get somewhere downtown and things of that sort. So this friend of mine lives probably an hour away from where I'm at. And so we were just needing to find a middle place to meet up. And we did that. It was still 40 to 45 minutes for the both of us with our children. And that sense of community, to just be able to spend time with our kids, allow them to run around, and then us being able to chat while walking with them and still being attentive to our kids was very refreshing. I'd never had that. Ambi is only a year and 1 month. And so it was my first time out with her like that, and it was a blast. It was, words can't describe how beautiful and wonderful that was. And I think what made it feel that way was that we put the effort into meeting up with each other. Therefore, the result came out wonderful. And so this friend of mine, we met in San Marcos, Texas, and we left and we're now in Houston. And so the difference between San Marcos and Houston are very big. Obviously, Houston is a city. I personally am not a city person. I love the nature. I love the very closeness that everything is, like stores, grocery, it doesn't even take 10 minutes. And here, the closest grocery shop to us is 15, just because it's that city. And so, what I found different from the two is that community, you have to put a lot more effort, I think, here in Houston, which isn't a bad thing. I think that part of people, though, is that some aren't willing to make that effort. There can be many reasons behind that. It can be, I don't know this person that well, or my kids will get fussy, or talking to the moms here, or it's just too far, my gas. I mean, there's so many components that can lead to this. And so it's so much harder to build that community here. In San Marcos, everything again was 5 minutes and so and so. And the difference is that was a college town, and we were able to just walk from like campus to the church or campus to a little restaurant. It was so much easier to get around at the time for us. And so there's been many challenges in community for us as a family, for me as a mom and a wife. And so the community aspect is a hard topic and uncomfortable because we need it. And I've been told by a number of people that they're perfectly fine without community. And I don't believe that. I personally don't believe that, because God constantly in the Bible tells us at least to be with one other person. We, as followers, are supposed to bring as many souls as we can to heaven with us. And so community is a big aspect of your life. It helps you to grow. It helps you to come back home refreshed. It there's just so many components to community. And so I think that's why I'm so gung-ho on it. Also scared of it. I think because I was just so comfortable with the community I had back in San Marcos. And in my own story of coming back to the faith, community was a big part of that. It was very welcoming. It was inclusive. It was very different from the inclusive of society. And so that's why I didn't think I would find a community aspect here in Houston. I'm in different group chats, which might be something that you could look into, of Houston moms or Houston women or anything of that sort that actually is good. And they meet up. We're actually going to have a brunch, I believe, in Katy or Sugarland within the end of this month. And it's going to be our first brunch. It's a rosary brunch. So it's more aimed at Catholic women within the area. Because again, we're all very spread apart. It's not easy to get around. But if you put the effort in, there will be a built and a sense of community. But I believe that you also have to have trust that that's going to happen. And you have to put yourself out there. And you have to risk a lot to do that. And so all of these parts can be overwhelming and scary. I say this from experience. I felt that in San Marcos. Didn't matter how close everything was. I was scared in the beginning. I was like, oh, all these lies came in of there's already a little group here. I don't want to intervene or like intrude into that group that's already kind of solidified. So I, in the beginning, was resistant. But when you feel that resistance and those lies, that means that you should go for it. I'm not saying that is the case all the time. But I am saying is there's something there for you. And there are women that want to love you. Again, I'm speaking from a woman community. I had in college the men and the women. But again, it was so much more appropriate and an understanding when it was just women and just men, being able to speak to one another and to better one another within that community so that they can, if you're married, bring it back home to the spouse and be able to practice it and be in good community for your family at home. And so I don't believe that no one can go without community. It's just, it's a disheartening thing to hear when someone says, I don't believe I'm supposed to be in community, or I believe I'm supposed to be like alone. And even within the Catholic faith, there's a thing called vocations. There's about 3: married life, religious life, and then the lay life. Lay life, people aren't going to the religious life and they aren't going to be married. They feel called by God to just be there and serving God as them, but not called to the religious life and not called to married life. It's a calling to serve as you, as the person. And so even the lay people aren't alone. They go to the church to serve. They have community at church. They have community within their families. So taking this perspective outside of religion, you are in community with family. That's your community. We were built to have community, to have a tribe, to have this. So that is just, it's beautifully designed that way so that we wouldn't endure a lot of these things alone. Now, it's very different from our temptations and the trials and challenges that we as an individual go through. My coach said something that stuck with me as well, and it was the why questions. Why does this happen or why does that happen are not meant to be answered alone. So that within itself means you're supposed to talk about these things, because if you don't know an answer, you, in our technology era, you already go to Google and ask. So that in a sense is like asking other people, except you're depending on a web, right? And so that sense of community brings out experiences that maybe others haven't, or maybe others have, and just switching it and trusting and saying, hey, I need help. And I believe that that is the power of community. And I desire it so much. And I want to tell you at least 3 things that I am able to encourage for you to go out and find yourself a really good community, because it's needed. We're not meant to be trapped within our homes, or not trapped, enclosed. I know there's a lot of moms that stay at home with their babies, or moms that obviously like keep up with the home, but you are meant to go out and talk with other moms or talk within your family. But the difference with the family aspect of community and a community outside of your family is that you get different point of views. You get a point of view that someone that might not know you as well as your family, and then your family at times could maybe be very biased because they know you. So another great example that I can think of is my sister, or both of my sisters. I've seen community within their life shift around. That's supposed to happen. You're supposed to be able to be like, okay, this might not be the community that's right for me or healthy for me. and it brings up maybe bad parts of me. And so it's been a shift in their lives to where they finally maybe are set on a certain community or are still looking. And that's going to happen. And I think as humans, we don't want that. We just want something that's stable, which isn't the case at all. If I joke with my husband and I'm like, if it was up to us and God didn't tell us to move to Houston, we'd probably still be in San Marcos because we are so vigilant on following where the Lord calls us to. And there are many other reasons why we moved here. A big aspect for me is family and our baby within that family. And so, anyways, that's a little sidetrack thing. But community. You were not meant to be alone. You were not made to be alone. So if that's something that you're struggling with, please reach out. Reach out to me, direct message me, ask questions about it. I would love to try and connect you with a community that is only looking out for good for you, loving you. You deserve that. And I think it's hard for people to realize that because of wounds. And I'm here to tell you, you deserve it. You definitely deserve that good person. You definitely deserve those good friends. You deserve good because that is what God wants for you. And that is what I want for you as human to human. And so I really hope that this encouraged you a bit to put yourself out there. So the 3 things I'm going to leave you with is mentally tell yourself a positive thing. Whether that's I am good, I am beautiful, I deserve to be loved, I am loved, actually, because a physical person you might feel doesn't love you, God does. So you are always loved no matter what. That's one. So that's like an affirmation type little exercise. The second thing is gratitude. Gratitude, I think, would help give you that confidence boost to be able to put yourself out there, which is the third thing. Put yourself out there. Risk it. Look for that community. Don't hold back, because there's a difference between saying, yes, I tried this, and that. Didn't work out. Oh, well, too bad. I'm going to stop. No, that is not okay. I think that you have to get uncomfortable. You have to put yourself out there and, take it or leave it. Again, my take on this is that you need it. If you don't believe that you need it, that none of this is going to seep into your head. Therefore, avoid everything I just said. But I would advise you to take these into consideration, into prayer. And if, again, you're having a hard time doing this, reach out to me. I'm very approachable. I love to talk. Obviously, started a podcast. And I desire, and it is my mission, to get everyone connected in a way that is going to strive for the better of you. So, I hope to see y'all next week, and yeah, I'll get better with my little gap words. I heard that those little gap words, side note, little gap words are things that people do because they are not okay with silence. So I'm working on it. Anyways, bye.